Oh, Braverman, no Brown, no Turi. Okay, hold on to your hats here, or buckle up, because this is going to be a little bit another crazy one. But again, if you know below the surface, if you know what's happening below the surface, it seems obvious. But if you don't, if you're screened, then everything you get a wrong impression of things. So I don't know if anybody remembers back, oh gosh, 20 episodes ago when I said that Neil Brown was the same thing that Valerie Plame was, which was the CIA calls it a non-official cover. A non-official cover is one that, like Mission Impossible, the part where they say the secretary will disavow not any knowledge of your existence. That's what the non-official cover program is. It's if you're found out, they say he wasn't a CIA agent. So, and the point I was making about Valerie Plame was she was an economic spy. They really train them deeply in the oil business and the mineral business and the oil and gas business and so forth. And so that's how I knew Neil Brown was a knock right from the start, because his in-depth training in the resources business. And that hasn't come out yet, by the way, so that's just my speculation, but I'm just going on the patterns of the Valerie Plame thing. And I speculated if Braverman was also a knock and a non-official cover. And I got a lot of heat for that. Oh my gosh, wild speculation, you know. So anyway, and I also said the 1988 Lebanon bombing, he may be a refugee from that. So a lot of people said, oh yeah, he looks French and so forth. So so this is just CIA folklore, but what the CIA does when there's a conflict and they do a topple, and there are a lot of people killed and so forth. There's going to be a lot of children. So a lot of them get trafficked. They pick the beautiful ones and the girls, and they go to these Jeffrey Epstein's Island. But the boys, what they do is they'll pick a few boys as well, not as sex slaves, but as kind of like, I know this is going to sound unbelievable, but as kind of pets. Like, we can make anybody the arrogance within CIA, and this comes from Kissinger, is I can groom anybody. So what you'll have is this clutch of people, because they can't predict which ones are going to turn out or not. What they'll do is they'll have a group of like Rhodes Scholars and so forth. So there's a group of like, oh gosh, it's like the Disney kids. They're all perfect. You know, they all go to really high quality schools. You're going to find out like Bill Clinton is going to be one of these, where, you know, horrible family conditions and so forth, yet goes to Ivy League school, gets an Ivy League degree and is a lawyer, and then goes on and becomes a Rhodes Scholar. So that's the kind of thing. Barack Obama is going to be the same story. I know this is it's really heavy, but it's true. Neil Brown is another one of those people. He's going to be president of the United States. Now, the only question that I don't know is if Braverman is a knock or not. I would guess yes, because I believe that both of these gentlemen have manufactured histories. I believe what the CIA does is they place these kids when they're, 2, 3 years old. They bring them back to the United States and they place them with these families all around the country. And I believe Eric Braverman's mother, can't remember the one who lives in Cherry Hill, is in charge of this, where they put the kids into different homes and they raise them, and they like the kids about 2 years old because they can speak the mother tongue. So I'm going to predict right now that Eric Braverman speaks French. I don't know if anybody's ever heard him speak French or not, and I'm going to say Neil Brown is going to be one from the conflict from Bosnia. Now, I don't know that I haven't done any research. I haven't looked at the logs and so forth. But when Netanyahu put out the logs for the Yemeni kids, it's kind of like saying, hey, I can put out the log for all of these kids, where all of these kids have been placed. Okay, I'm going to go back a second. It's kind of like cut it out with the UN resolutions against me, because I can out everybody in this program. You're going to find out that Netanyahu and so forth, all these survivors are going to be in this knock program. They're going to be these economic spies. Now, the problem that I have with Hillary is she turns it in. They used to do a few journalists, but now they're really going after all the journalists, turning journalists into knocks. And, it's not just Anderson Cooper, it's the whole crew. And then going toward the sarin gas and the stingers, because now the stingers are going to be in the hands of La Raza, the sarin gas is in the hands of, of the Somali kids, the Somali war kids. So it's gotten completely out of hand. Now, everyone said, oh, why did you go to Ulf Kate? Why did you jump on Ulf Kate this morning? What's the significance? Try to make this somehow significant. Well, okay, I will. The reason why I jumped on Ulf Kate is because he was the journalist 2 years ago, 2014 sometime, where he came out and said, I was a non-official cover for the CIA. They paid us to write stories. So basically they paid him for planting a story that Gaddafi was making sarin gas. Well, he said if you listen to this interview on RT at the bottom, the link's down here, you'll see where he says, I didn't know anything about that. BND, which is the CIA baby intelligence agency for Germany, it was created by the CIA, told him that and said, put your name on this article, okay? Kate is going to be my key link for Germany. I'm going to have one of these guys in France and every other NATO country because I've got to get NATO and the Secretary General to say we're going to bomb Gaddafi, okay? So this relates directly back to my story, which is what I said, why Chandelone did this. Chandelone was on the general side. That operation, that Brownstone operation was on the general side. You got another guy over here on the information side, which is the journalists. Kate also was bribed to plant the Halabja story. And I related the Halabja, why Saddam and Gaddafi. It's just the same repeating pattern. Have the dictator ship all the oil, make all the money. Then when you want to get rid of them, drop the sarin gas story on them. And they did with Halabja in that should be 1988. That's wrong. That was George Bush. And then Gaddafi was just the same old plan again. The old, we must topple him. He's doing sarin gas in 2011. Okay? And it's going to be the same thing for Assad. The sarin gas, we got to topple him thing. It's the same thing over and over. Just like the blue helmets in Kosovo, they just changed the color to the white helmets in Syria. The same thing is, I think in Germany they have a thing called when they do a cover, and you're going to find out this is DynCorp as well, they call it the Yellow Angels. It's always a color and then some kind of, mystical, whatever, angel or some kind of angel of mercy, some kind of NGO social justice cover. So anyway, you're going to find that the Yellow Angels in Germany, for instance, is the surveillance. It's going to be a surveillance thing. Now, they also use the helicopters to go when there's car accidents, but they're going to be used mostly for surveillance. So it's the same pattern over and over again. Oh, by the way, for people who don't know, is he had this heart situation. And this is something else the CIA does, is they don't want you to die right away and that be your only heart attack. They give you enough adrenaline to, give you heart palpitations. You keep going into the hospital for 3 or 4 times, and then everyone worries about your heart, and then you finally die of the heart attack. So it's not so surprising. And this is, adrenaline under the toe. I'm telling you right now. So I know this sounds crazy, but it's true. How could I make this up? How could I said this 20 days ago, okay? So anyway, I've been saying the sarin gas thing from the very first episode, 60 days ago, that this is how they do it. They use this, they drop the sarin gas cover on them, and then they use the sarin gas as well to clear for the oil. So the proof is in the fact that I started saying this from day one. So again, Valerie Plame, the generals, to get the bombing campaign, you drop the sarin. That slide I created 30 days ago. This hasn't come out yet, but these brownstone operations, the sex blackmail operations that they used for the Kosovo and Bosnia, that's going to be on the general side. So sarin gas is more of the public information, the press corps, and so forth, and the brownstones is more for the generals. They also bribe them a little bit with the F-35 bribe, but again, Sibel Edmonds covered all this, and that's why they killed Chandelone. I'm telling you right now, it's the brownstone stuff. So I'm sorry if I'm a little bit wound up on this, but non-official cover officer, knock. They call them knocks. You're going to see this repeating over and over. And this is why DynCorp is going to claim state secrets to knock these things down, to knock her. She was a whistleblower, and she talked about this child trafficking in Kosovo. To knock it down, they're going to say, well, he's a knock, so we can't do anything. It's state secrets. It's not. You don't use children like this, where you shoot one of them in front of 40 other ones and tell them if they run away, they're going to be murdered. You know, all I want to do is expose the program and go back to economic spying and get away from this sex trafficking, you know, and the drugs and the oil, you know, that type of stuff. I actually think economic spying in general is probably not a good idea. The program is dramatically expanded under Hillary. That's where I'm going with this. So again, I'm not the one saying this. This is the program. I'm not the one saying Blackstone operations is the way they do blackmail. Brownstone operations is the way they do blackmail. Tyler Drumheller, the head of the CIA in Europe, is saying that. This, you know, I've got 40 kids here, and I've got 102 Jane Does here. So ask their families, if you think I'm making this up, you know, ask their families if this isn't really happening. It's happening. This is DynCorp. So I'm going to leave it there today. I'm going to just say that another knock. You know, you're going to have his program, can't remember the sport name now. Anyway, the guys at Duke and the guys here are going to be the guys program with the field hockey. I can't remember anyway, whatever that sport is, where for some reason I can't think of it. Anyway, that's going to be where you're going to have a little recruiting ground. They're going to take the best athlete out of there, and they're going to put that one through and give him a scholarship and make him a CIA officer. So this is kind of a CIA officer training ground here. Lacrosse, of course, yes. So anyway, that's the end of this episode. I just wanted to say that, again, it isn't me saying this. It's the journalists themselves saying this. Okay, I was a knock. Okay, thanks.